Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Beaute Industry Podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry, connecting you with educational pieces, innovative industry products, and inspiration from industry experts. I am your host, Founding Director of Beaute Industry, Tamara Shaw. Today on the podcast, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to nail customer service through your therapist's first impressions, presentation, attitude, client conversations, and more. Customer service often makes or breaks a business and is such a simple thing to work on within yourself and within your team. Let's chat customer service, shall we? What we've been finding lately, heading out into the beauty industry, traveling around different spas, salons, clinic, medi-spas, is that our customer service is not the greatest. What I always compare our industry to, and it's such a chalk and cheese comparison, but Officeworks. So I go into Officeworks at least once or twice a week. Every single time I go into Officeworks, as soon as I walk in, within the first 3 seconds, someone is there to greet me. They say, welcome, how can I help you? How are you going today? Thanks for coming to Officeworks. And I know if I had a question, if I didn't know where I could find a highlighter or a printer or whatever it may be, at that very moment, that amazing interaction has just wowed my first impression of the business. So I'm able to really easily find what I need, where I need it, and I feel really comfortable actually asking that person where I can get that, and I know that I'm going to be serviced. What we experience when when we essentially enter into a beauty clinic or a salon, and I'm just talking blanket kind of generalization here, in my experience, is normally you'll walk into one of these clinics or salons, and 9 times out of 10, there's somebody sitting down behind a desk. Most often than not, there's normally quite a few somebodies sitting behind the desk, or even you may have somebody leaning on the desk, eating at the desk. So many different variables about how that customer service experience is going versus my office work experience, right? So we've got our therapist, even sometimes the manager in extreme cases, sitting at the desk, hoping that they are going to continue on with their work, and then a client enters in. We kind of just have this glance up from the computer moment and attend to the client in asking them, what's your name? Do you have an appointment? Would you like a tea or water? Take a seat in the lounge. And then we go back onto our computers and we are continuing on with the work or answering the phone or whatever kind of task we're really doing in that very moment. The client's impression of that experience is walking in and felt like their time is not valued, right? So I can see that you're looking up from the computer. I can see that taking that phone call is really important. You would love me to just have a seat, a water, a herbal tea, and then you'll come and collect me when you're ready, right? So now my time as a client is not valued. And if I can see lots of therapists or people standing around the desk, I'm thinking, why is my service not starting on time? Why am I getting taken into the treatment room 5 minutes late? By the time I take my clothes off, hop onto the treatment room bed, the therapist comes back in, my service is already diluted. So what we're here to do today is just kind of have this little discussion and really flesh out 3 ways to nail customer service. First time, every time. So number 1, presentation. And we harp on this so much when we're at beauty school, when we are maybe in a franchise, or when we first interview someone, that presentation is super important to us. However, what we're seeing at the moment in the industry is just not a true reflection of A, our professional standards, and B, the service that we have to offer at the price point which we offer it. So what I want you to take a think of and take a look at your therapist, if you're an owner or a manager, is what grade out of 10 would I give my therapist for their presentation today? And I want you to start thinking about this over the next week. If you are seeing 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 therapists come into your clinic, then we need to step up our game. If we are seeing 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 therapists walk into our clinic on a daily basis, then we feel pretty good with what level of service we're going to be offering our client, right? So let me just break that down a little bit more. In terms of presentation from top to toe, we understand, being the industry experts, that our presentation needs to be bang on. Our clients take 7 seconds to actually make up their mind and make up their first impression of your business and our industry just by looking at a therapist. And as we know, therapists, we're very kinetic. We do things with our hands. We learn by doing and performing and using our tools of the trade, being our hands, to perform amazing treatments. So if in that first 7 seconds your client has already made up their mind, it does not matter how good your service is. If your presentation lets you down, that client has already decided, unsure if I want this service today. So obviously our hair needs to be up. Now, I love when therapists wear buns. I think it's professional, slick, meticulous, but at the same time, it just needs to be an updo. And I'm not talking about a Sunday bun where we've just come back from the gym or F45 and it's all messy and it's just done up with one top knot. I'm talking a really professional, slick, hair out of face, not going to touch my hair with gloves, updo. That's off my face and I'm not thinking about my hair for the entire day. In terms of makeup, I'm seeing more and more now, with the industry shifting to be very makeup focused, that our lovely therapists are doing all of these amazing makeup techniques that I am really terrible at, but they're contouring and they're highlighting and they're baking and they're shadowing and they've got all of this gorgeous makeup on the skin. However, if you're in a skin center who focuses on getting skin results, I don't want to see a full face of makeup being caked on. What we would rather is just a really natural form of, lovely mineral makeup, or just a really light foundation, a little bit of blush, perhaps a slick of mascara and a little bit of lip gloss or stick, just to kind of enhance the skin, right? Looking at lashes, the lash industry has become massive as well this year. We don't want lashes to be so heavily filled and overfilled that our poor little therapist looks like she's going to topple over and stumble over herself because her lashes are so heavy that she may fall on the floor. So just keeping it nice and neutral and natural, and think, can my client see my skin through this foundation? If not, maybe let's just take it back a step. In terms of uniform, I'm the biggest stickler for uniform, but I think it is super imperative that our therapists are having an ironed and clean uniform, right? It sounds so simple. However, it's not happening. The most simple thing to do to show your client that you are here, you're prepared for their treatment, you're on time, you're an amazing therapist, is to have a really clean and pressed uniform. Of course, this comes all the way down to shoes. I'm sure you've seen it as well. I just don't understand how therapists walk around in ballet flats. It is just the worst thing you can do for your posture. And I'm sure maybe 3 years into their career, and perhaps even 1 year, depending on how long their days are that they work, but a couple of years into their career, they are going to regret that. So I always just comment on shoes that are OH&S. Nikes are amazing. Skechers are amazing. Something that's closed toe that gives you support. So when you're doing those 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 hour days, you're not going home feeling like you've been walking around on concrete all day. So you should have a lot of support in your footwear. And of course, lastly, in terms of presentation, jewelry is a huge one. So jewelry needs to be at an absolute minimal, as do your nails. If you're working in a nail bar, obviously have a little acrylic or a gel or, an SNS or something like so. But if you're working in the spa and clinic industry, you need to be just a fresh, really neutral manicure. So, of course, that's a 10 out of 10 therapist, somebody who is on point, looking like you cannot fault them. And I would only give them a 10 out of 10 if that ticks absolutely everything, including name badge. So if they don't have a name badge, they're a 9 out of 10 today. 5 out of 10 therapist is obviously all of the opposite of that. So we've got dirty ballet slippers that we're wearing throughout the clinic. We have a uniform that's disheveled. We've rolled out of bed with last night's makeup on, just quickly done our hair up, walking in, perhaps eating McDonald's. That's a 5 out of 10 therapist. So have your therapist be accountable. Tell them, observe them for 1 week, first of all, and then on that second week, have a team meeting and put the accountability back on them. Before they leave the house or before they enter into your business, they should be stopping and thinking, what is my number today? And realistically, if you're anything below a 7 out of 10, don't show up for work. Our clients mean more to us. Their time is more valuable than a 7 out of 10 or below. The second one is just exactly that, to be accountable. So the second way for customer service, accountability, right? And this is what millennials, and I'm going to put it back onto millennials now, but millennials are not amazing at doing, and especially in our industry. And taking a look at attitude, taking a look at respect, what are your values and what kind of conversations are you having in the treatment room? The therapist needs to understand that they are accountable for their own attitude, their values that they represent into your business, and do they align with your business values and those topics that they're having in the conversation with the client during treatment. So one thing they need to think of is, would they be having this conversation with their grandma, for example? So talking about Saturday night, boyfriend, what they're going to eat for lunch, the fact that they maybe haven't been paid on time, or another therapist was running late, therefore now their treatment is also running late. They might miss out on lunchtime. These conversations are not okay to be having with the client. We should really be maximizing every single opportunity with our client. So talking about their past treatment history, have they enjoyed it? Have they started to see a result? How many treatments do they have left? Do we have any promotions running on at the moment? What kind of post-care pardon me, are they having, and how are they going with their results at home? All of these topics of conversation while your client is already in your business, on the bed, enjoying an amazing service, are fantastic ways to add value, add educational pieces to the treatment, rather than just simply discussing their own home or life. Yeah, absolutely. We need to build a rapport. We need to build trust. We need to create confidence with our client, and personality is huge, and that's what clients connect with. But at the same time, you can still be personable and be professional. Third one is you need to perform an amazing treatment, right? And I say amazing, highlight, bold, massive caps lock text. Perform an amazing treatment. You've come to the beauty industry to do exactly that, to perform an amazing treatment. So when you've got a massage instead of a facial, don't be upset. Don't say, I wish I had more facials in my column. I wish I did more microdermabrasions instead of traditional organic facials. Let's be super impressed that we can even have the ability to perform a treatment at all, right? And we're going to perform it on this amazing client. So having that ability not to perform an average treatment that is just on par with the service standards in our industry, but to actually perform a mind-blowing, incredible, I want to tell all of my friends about that therapist and that business treatment. We know that the power of word of mouth is so huge. And many times it's actually more powerful than any PR, Instagram, marketing, influencer campaign that you're going to run, because it's truth and it's coming right from the experience of that treatment. So it is really, really important. I'm sure you could tell I could go on all day about ways to nail customer service, but those are just 3 things that I just wanted to kick off this podcast with, as in our industry, it is just so important. And unfortunately, at the moment, me personally, I'm not seeing an amazing level of customer service out there. I want to be met and gret at the door. I want to be wowed in my ability to have a conversation with my therapist. And last but not least, I want my treatment to be amazing. And those 3 things are not too much to ask. So take those 3 things, have a conversation with your therapist or with the people around you, and I'd love to hear what you think. Feel free to share any of this information via any of our social channels, podcast via Anchor. We also have an Instagram as well as a Facebook, and our members only website, which is www.beauteindustry.com. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Catch you then. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 2 of the Beaute Industry podcast. If you have loved our episode on 3 ways to nail customer service, be sure to tune in next week as we come to you with episode number 3 with the power of networking with Mel Yu of MCO Events. Until then.